Hello and welcome to the Bible with Briscoe. I am your translator. I guess we'll just call it a reader for the day. Shenandoah Briscoe, and we're going to try to get through the Bible in a year. Today we're going to be covering Genesis 25 through 26 and Matthew 8, 1 through 17. Father, I just ask for clarity of voice in this reading so that the word may bless you and each and every individual out there who are tuned in today. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. And they all said, amen. The death of Abraham. Genesis 25. Abraham had taken another wife, whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimran, Jokashan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan was the father of Sheba and Dedan. The descendants of Dedan were the Asherites, the Leterishites, and the Lumites. The sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abida, and Eldaah. All these were descendants of Keturah. Abraham left everything he owned to Isaac, but while he was still living, he gave gifts to his sons of his concubines and sent them away from his son Isaac to the land of the east. Abraham lived 175 years. Then Abraham breathed his last and died at a good old age, an old man and full of years. And he was gathered to his people. His sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machaphiel, near Mamre, in the field of Ephraim, son of Zohar, the Hittite, the field Abraham had bought from the Hittites. There Abraham was buried with his wife Sarah. After Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac, who then lived near Beer-lahai-roi. Ishmael's sons. This is the account of the family line of Abraham's son Ishmael, whom Sarah's slave Hagar, the Egyptian, bore to Abraham. These are the names of the sons of Ishmael listed in the order of their birth. Nebaioth, the firstborn of Ishmael, Kedar, Adbel, Mibsam, Misham, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tam, Jeter, Nephish, and Kedemah. These were the sons of Ishmael, and these are the names of the 12 tribal rulers, according to their settlements and camps. Ishmael lived 137 years. He breathed his last. And died, and he was gathered to his people. His descendants settled in the area from Havilah to Shur, near the eastern border of Egypt, as you go toward Ashur. And they lived in hostility towards all the tribes related to them. Jacob and Esau. This is the account of the family line of Abraham's son Isaac. Abraham became the father of Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel, the Araman from Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban the Araman. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. The babies jostled each other within her, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger. When the time came for her to give birth, there were twin boys in her womb. The first to come out was red, and was whole body was like a hairy garment. So they named him Esau. After his brother came out with his hand grasping Esau's heel, so was his name, so he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to them. The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was content to stay at home among the tents. Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once, when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country famished. He said to Jacob, "Quick, let me have some of that red stew. I'm famished." That is why he was so called Edom. Jacob replied, "First sell me your birthright." "Look, I am about to die," Esau said. "What good is the birthright to me?" But Jacob said, "Swear to it to me first." So he swore on an oath to him, selling his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and some lentil stew. He ate and drank, and then got up and left. So Esau despised his birthright. Isaac and Amalek. Now there was a famine in the land, besides the previous famine, in Abraham's time. And Isaac went to Amalek, king of the Philistines, in Gerar. The Lord appeared to Isaac and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land where I tell you to live. Stay in this land for a while, and I will be with you, and will bless you, for to you and your descendants I will give all these lands, and will confirm the oath I swore to your father Abraham. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and will give them all these lands. And through your offspring all nations on earth will be blessed, because Abraham obeyed me and did everything I required of him, keeping my commandments, my decrees, my instructions." So Isaac stayed in Gerar. When the men of the place asked him about his wife, he said, "She is my sister," because he was afraid to say, "She is my wife." He thought the men of the place might kill me on account of Rebekah, because she is beautiful. When Isaac had been there a long time, Amalek, king of the Philistines, looked down from his window and saw Isaac caressing his wife Rebekah. So Amalek summoned Isaac and said, "She is really your wife. Why did you say, 'She is my sister'?" Isaac answered him, "Because I thought I might lose my life on account of her." Then Amalek said, "What is this you have done to us? One of the men might well have slept with your wife, and you would have brought guilt upon us." So Amalek gave orders to all the people, "Anyone who harms this man or his wife shall surely be put to death." Isaac planted crops in the land, and the same year reaped a hundredfold, because the Lord blessed him. The man became rich, and his wealth continued to grow until he became very wealthy. He had so many flocks and herds and servants that the Philistines envied him. So all the wells that his father's servants had dug in the time of his father Abraham, the Philistines stopped up, filling them with earth. Then Amalek said to Isaac, "Move away from us. You have become too powerful for us." So Isaac moved away from there and encamped in the valley of Jer, where he saddled, where he, uh, and then, blah, 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 blah. The servants had died, filling them with earth. Then Amalek said to Isaac, "Move away from us. You have become too powerful for us." So Isaac moved away from there and encamped in the valley of Jer, where he settled. Isaac reopened the wells that had been dug in the time of his father Abraham, which the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham died, and and he gave them the same names his father had given them. Isaac's servants dug in the valley and discovered a well of fresh water there. But the herders of Jer quarreled with those of Isaac's and said, "The water is ours." So he named the well Isaac, because they disputed with him. Then they dug another well, but they quarreled over that one also. So he named it Sitneh. He moved on from there and dug another well, and no one quarreled over it. He named it Rehoboth, saying, "Now the Lord has given us room, and we will flourish in the land." From there he went to Beersheba. That night the Lord appeared to him and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bless you and will increase the number of your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham." Isaac built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord. There he pitched his tent, and there his servants dug a well. Meanwhile, Amalek had come to him from Gerar, with Ahuz, his personal adviser, and Philco, the commander of his forces. Isaac asked them, "Why have you come to me, since you were hostile to me and sent me away?" They answered, "We saw clearly that the Lord was with you. So we said, there ought to be a sworn agreement between us and you. Let us make a treaty with you, that you will do us no harm, just as we did not harm you, but always treated you well and sent you away peacefully. And you are blessed by the Lord. And now you are blessed by the Lord." Isaac then made a feast for them, and they ate and drank. Early the next morning the men swore an oath to each other. Then Isaac sent them on their way, and they went away peacefully. That day Isaac's servants came and told him about the well they had dug. They said, "We have found water." He called it Shibah, and to this day the name of the town has been Beersheba. Jacob takes Esau's blessing. When Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and also Bishemath, daughter of Elon the Hittite. They were a source of grief to Isaac and Rebekah. I guess we'll continue that tomorrow in Genesis 27. All right, now we're going to be into Matthew 8, 1 through 17. So here we go. Jesus heals a man with leprosy. When Jesus came down from the mountainside, large crowds followed him. A man with leprosy came and knelt before him and said, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out to his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said. "Be clean." Immediately he was cleansed of his leprosy. Then Jesus said to him, "See that you do not tell anyone, but go show yourself to the priests and offer the gift Moses commanded as a testimony to them." The the faith of the centurion. When Jesus had entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him asking for help. Lord, he said, my servant lies at home paralyzed, suffering terribly. Jesus said to him, shall I come and heal him? The centurion replied, Lord, I do not deserve you to have you come under my roof, but just say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this one, go, and he goes. I tell that one, come, and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed that and said to those following him, truly, I tell to you that I have not found anyone in Israel with such great faith. I say to you that many I say to you that many will come from the east and the west and will take their place at the feast with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the subjects of the kingdom will be thrown upside down into the darkness, that where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then Jesus said to the centurion, go, let it be done just as you believed it would. And his servant was healed at that moment. Jesus heals many. When Jesus came into Peter's house, he saw Peter's mother-in-law lying in bed with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she got up and began to wait on him. When evening came, many who were demon-possessed were brought to him, and he drove out the spirits with a word and healed all the sick. That was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. He took up our infirmities and bore our diseases. And that was Matthew 8, 1 through 17. That concludes the Bible with Briscoe. Tomorrow we will be covering Genesis 27 through 28 and Matthew 8, 18 through 34. So I might just ask that God, Father God, you just bless us all in Jesus' mighty name, and have each and every one of them come back tomorrow so that we can continue the Bible, your word, in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. And they all said, Amen.